Hey everybody, we're here for part two of the off season in the off season, doing the off season. Five for talking. We're here to talk about hockey. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show, and we're just going to jump right into this and talk about the Vegas situation that has recently popped up. Breaking news.
Go for it.
Oh, you want me to? So, Robin Leonard, I almost said Robert Leonard. Robin Leonard expected to miss the entirety of next season. 2022-2023 with a hip injury. We did know he was injured. We do know he's gone on multiple rants about being injured. I don't know. Do you want to take this away?
I mean, I could talk about it, but the fact is no one understands what this guy is going through. No one understands what's going on. I mean, when you look at the goalie tandem in Vegas Golden Knights, they're trying to build a team there, and because Leonard's not there and their goalie situation is in shambles right now, if they were not able to pick up any free agency goalies, their year lies on Michael Hutchinson's shoulders.
Oh gosh, they have Michael Hutchinson
for $750,000.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's like, what do you do? Like, this is a crazy situation.
This is a team that has constantly shot themselves in the foot. We talked about this in the last episode when we talked about the Max Pacioretty trade, and previously earlier in the season when we talked about the Eichel trade, where they've basically dumped their entire future, at least, like, to be honest with you, the next 10 years worth of it, to win now. And by doing that, they've cut so many corners. They don't have anything when people go down. So you had the Marc-Andre Fleury situation, you let him go. So then you got left in, you had the the Malcolm Subban thing, you let him go. Then now you have Robin Leonard with no backup goalie, and you were really banking on him to play every game because you're not going to have Michael Hutchinson play more than 10 games. I'm going to be honest with you.
He's going to have to.
Yeah, he's going to have to play all the games now.
He's going to have to. And they got no choice. I mean, it's like, what do you do? There are some goalies out there that are available, but I don't think they'll be able to take the reins and actually be a starting goalie. I don't know if you want to go through a couple of them.
Okay, so I'll reference this here because the Score immediately dropped this, what would you call it, article, there you go, about 5 goalies that are plausible for Vegas to target. So you have a specific choice you mentioned to me, which we'll keep that one for last. So I'll go through the goalies here. We'll have a little talk about it. So first here, you got John Gibson. Personally, I think, well, he's a fantastic goalie. He's probably the best goalie on this list, but I don't think they're getting this contract, and I don't think Anaheim's giving him up for cheap.
Yeah, and I'll add to that after you've gone through the goalies as to why some of these these goalies will not be able to work.
I'll mention this right now. So he's a $6.4 million per season cap hit for 5 more years. All right, then you got Anton Khudobin, who's got 1 year left at 3.3. He was the starting goalie of Dallas. I believe he came from Boston as like a touted prospect. He turned into be a really good goalie, and then last year he absolutely tanked, and Oettinger ended up playing like the rest of the season. I know he did have injuries, but he just became like a huge issue. And the funny part is he's 36 years old, but like everyone just thought he was way younger. Anyways, moving on, Jake Allen, $2.875 million for 1 more year. I don't think any of these goalies so far are a bad choice. They can all fill that hole. Jake Allen's kind of old, though, and the Montreal did not do good last year. Semyon Varlamov, a very good goalie, $5 million, 1 year left. They really like him in New York Islander as a dual goalie tandem, and I think you're going to have to pay a lot to get him. Even though he's a little bit older, I don't think they care. We know Lou Lamoriello doesn't F around. Okay. And last but not least, James Reimer, 2.25 million, 1 year left, kind of old, has the experience. Once again, a goalie that can do it, provided that you give him the right support.
So out of all those choices, I was going to go with James Reimer, only because a lot of those other goalies, I don't think though their respective teams are going to get rid of them. I don't think that's going to happen. The other thing that we have to look at is, as of right now, the Vegas Golden Knights are almost $6 million over the cap. Like, I don't know how they're going to be able to make it
because
work.
They're going to put Leonard on LTIR and his whole contract is going to come off.
Well, it's so funny because I'm looking at it right now. They have Shea Weber on their long-term injury reserve. They have Robert Leonard and 3 other players.
Whoa, and they're still over?
And they're still over. This is a really crazy situation.
They're going to have to make a huge move here.
We know. They're sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead,
they're in a rough situation right now. Some dominoes are going to have to fall. We know it's not going to be Jack Eichel or Pietrangelo. Yeah, wow, that's absolutely crazy. I didn't even think of that. They're gonna have to swing something. But to that point, it's kind of weird because the 2 most logical teams then who could make that move are Anaheim and San Jose. But weirdly, San Jose, for a rebuilding team, is over the cap or very close to it, if not over. Yeah. So they're not going to be able to take anything in return to give them Reimer, except maybe they can retain all of Reimer's contract somehow. I don't know if you could do that, but that's wow. You just threw a wrench into everything because you're definitely not getting Varlamov because the Islanders are not retaining crap for you. The Islanders needs cap space. So does Dallas. So that's not happening. Maybe Montreal actually is probably the best bet. And Jake Allen can play a whole season if he's healthy. But I don't know. That's a weird situation. So I just want to ring. John Gibson's the best goalie there. If you want me to tell you, John Gibson's the best, but the best shot they have at price to quality is Reimer. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, Gibson is the best choice, but he makes $6 million a year.
Yeah, 6.5. So well, you can look at the free agency right now, and the only goalies that might be affordable and want a spot is weirdly Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar, Garrett Sparks, and Corey Schneider. And none of those goalies are starting goalies, in my opinion, anymore.
No.
Andrew Hammond is probably your best bet, but can he stay healthy? I don't know. He's a little bit older. Corey Schneider used to be good. So this is a really weird situation for Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything else to say about this except that they're screwed.
No, I think we should move on from that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about something Vegas adjacent here.
Mm-hmm.
Max Pacioretty. For the season for the Carolina Hurricanes. Well, is it for the 6 months? It's 6 months.
6 months. I mean, you like when this thing happened, when Max Pacioretty went to the Carolina Hurricanes, along with some other moves, you immediately thought that this was going to be it for Carolina. That they were really going to make a push for it next year, and it's really hard to argue that point. And then this happened.
And it threw a big wrench in that situation. But I do think, given the fact that it's 6 months from when it got announced, which I believe was a week ago, so he should be back slightly before or just after the All-Star break.
Yeah, or they could pull a Tampa Bay and kind of circumvent it a little bit and make them come back a little later.
Well, if you're Carolina,
use that money to get somebody.
So here's the awkward situation about that. We might as well get into that while we're here. They don't really have anybody there or in LTIR, I don't believe. But if Carolina really is doing well, you can, and they probably will, you can easily just get him ready, fully prepped for the playoffs, and keep him out, like you said, until the playoffs and bring him back, right? And then you free up cap, and there's people you could sign with the money from Pacioretty. They could get Kadri. They
Yeah,
could,
they can definitely they can play him a little bit, and then he can wink wink get hurt again,
but
and
it's possible. But here's the issue that I have with that: the East is so strong this year that should you need Pacioretty, you might really need Pacioretty. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But I can guarantee you, with the team that they already have, without Pacioretty, they can get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that happens, they can.
Now that I just thought of that, I don't know if this is going to bother me forever now, because by doing that whole loophole, they can sign Kadri.
How
much does Pacioretty get paid?
As of right now, Pacioretty gets paid about $7 million a year. And but I know for a fact that Kadri is going for the max. Like,
yeah, he's not going to get more than $7 million. He's a $7 million guy.
I know that the teams believe that he's a $7 million player, and he may get that contract afterwards. But he's going for like $9 million.
He's not going to get $9 million. What are you, crazy?
I know. I'm just saying, like that's what.
Oh, they're saying that's how he feels.
What his asking price is.
He's crazy.
Like he is crazy. But
yeah, to me, I would not pay Kadri a nickel over $6 million.
Yeah, but on a side note, I see Kadri either going to Calgary or to New York Islanders. I'm just saying.
Hey, on the Islanders, he would be the perfect fit for that team. That's a good little rumor mill to start there. Okay, well, I mean, I don't have anything else about that. Do you?
No, we can move on to Laine.
All right, so your boy Patrik Laine. I don't know. Bargo has this really hate for Patrik Laine that I just don't get. He is a little rough around the edges, but given the right situation, like playing with Johnny Gaudreau, he can score 50 goals. So he got signed 4 years, $8.75 million. I'm gonna go out on a limb here personally and say that's about $700,000 too much. I think I wouldn't pay him anything over $8 million. But for a 4-year term, that's fine. If it doesn't work out, that contract is movable. People will still want him. He's still young. I think he's an excellent player. And he has a really big body. He is streaky, but he has a big body. He's definitely an 85, 90 point guy scoring 50 goals at his peak potential.
Yeah, but until that happens, he's going to be that guy that's streaky and doesn't.
But Gaudreau is a great playmaker.
Yeah, he is a great playmaker. Laine's going to have to prove himself, and he needs to produce. That's the bottom line. Like it's now or never.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like he's been in a league long enough to get to the next level. He needs to be that guy that was projected to score 50 goals a season.
I think his attitude is what's really held him back.
I think so too.
I mean, do you have anything else for that before I move on here?
No, and I believe it's Boston, right?
Yes, it is. Okay, so Boston made 3 surprising signings, given the situation they're currently in their cap crunch, and they're kind of going out with the old guard and bringing in new younger guys. But anyways, they got Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, and Pavel Zacha all signed up. Bergeron got signed for $2.5 million with a $2.5 million in incentives. Mm-hmm. This is so huge for them that it's pretty crazy.
In a good way or in a bad way?
In a good way, because they have space now.
I don't think Boston's ready to give up on these guys just yet.
You never give up on Bergeron.
No, because even towards the end of the season last year, Boston was like really pushing for it, trying to overtake Tampa and Toronto in the standings. They're not ready to rebuild just yet. I think they got maybe I project. I'm predicting another year for these guys. I
Yeah,
think
one day of 1 year
really,
left,
they're going to really have to make some tough decisions after this year. Krejci
which
kind of
makes
surprised
sense.
me a little more.
They're all 1 year deals, right?
Yeah.
So Krejci, you'll let you talk about him after I say it, okay?
No, yeah, you're like the Krejci one kind of surprised me. It took me off, took me by surprise a little bit. But I guess
1
because of the
million.
fact, yeah, because of the fact that they were able to do what they did with Bergeron, they were able to bring Krejci in as a depth player.
And having a guy like Krejci who still has more in his tank than, let's say, a Spezza, but brings you a similar quality in terms of leadership and like skill. And for $1 million to have him on your third line or fourth line, you don't lose.
Yeah, and the other factor is that he knows these guys already. He's played with them. He knows what he needs to do. So you know, it shouldn't be a problem when it comes to chemistry because they've all played together. So I'm pretty much.
Yeah, well, I'll go out here. They re-signed Pavel Zacha for $3.5 million for 1 year. I'm on the fence about the price, but he's a solid two-way guy. He can score in the right situation. He is talented. And they recently got him in a trade for Eric Holla, which was like you basically traded the same guy for the same guy. So in my opinion, that was already a fine trade. And to now have all three of these guys on your team, you have experience. All three of them are good on both ends of the ice, and all three of them can provide offensively in the right scenarios. So to me, I think Boston is not as out as we maybe thought they were.
No, they need to stay competitive because the East is going to be so tough next year.
Yep.
They had to do what they had to do, and I you know what? I don't know if they're done.
Okay, so we'll end that there. Before I rattle off the last couple of signings, I think we should talk about BORJE SALMING and being diagnosed with ALS. It's kind of some sad news. He's probably the greatest Leaf defenseman of all time, barring Tim Horton. But, I mean, probably other than Nicholas Lindstrom, the best Swedish defenseman of all time, for sure. An absolute Leafs legend. It's pretty sad. I mean, he's not gone, but it's still sad.
Yeah, it's just ALS. There's no cure for it. So the reports are saying that they caught it early, and he's gonna start taking medicines to stop the progression of it. The thing that bugs me the most is that the guy is probably one of the most fit people I've ever seen
in their 70s.
And he's more fit than more athletic and more fit, and takes care of themselves more in comparison to somebody in their 30s and 20s. And this has to happen to him, and that sucks. And this is just one of those times where it just sucks.
It sucks for Leafs Nation. I get it. It sucks for everyone. Our thoughts go out to him and his family. So, hopefully he fights it. Let's see. I'll just rattle off these signings here, and we're going to end this episode. So if you want to mention anything when I say it, you feel free to cut me off. Golden Knights re-up on Nicholas Waugh for 5 years. That is what it is. The Jets avoid arbitration with Appleton, and they got him for 3 years at $2.25 million. The Devils avoided arbitration with Wood. They got him for 1 year at 3.2. The Hurricanes re-signed Necas, which was a huge thing. They didn't know if they were going to be able to get him. I believe he was an RFA. Was a 2-year contract at $3 million, which is great for them. He has potential to be a great player. The problem is when this contract's up, he's going to cost a buttload of money. And last but not least, Lawson Krause was signed for a 5-year deal in Arizona. I kept wanting to say Phoenix. In Arizona, 5 years at 4.3. He's been really good, and I'm excited to see where they can go with him. And I really hope Arizona figures it out and tries to work something out. Anyways, that's all I have. So for me and Caps, we're signing off. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what your favorite team is in this upcoming season. Peace out.